So first and foremost, when I'm making this video, I want to make sure that everybody understands this is not a tutorial. It is not a how-to. I have never done this before. Um, we are attempting to dry age some ducks. I'm very familiar with the idea of dry aging steaks. Whenever I ran across this actually on the internet, one of my favorite people to follow is Steven Rinella, meat eater. He has a lot of interesting ideas. He's kind of taking wild game, for me at least, beyond the tenderloin, so to speak. I think everybody locally, as well as most of the deer hunters I know, you kind of start out with the tenderloin and then everything else. And a lot of his videos and a lot of his shows are about enjoying and eating all the wild game you get. He recently made a post about how long do you let your birds hang, and he was actually referring to pheasants, and he was letting pheasants hang. But it got my brain working, and I got to reading and looking up and found out that dry aging all kinds of game birds is out there, and including duck. So got these two gadwalls. I didn't want to try this with a bunch of them. We've had them hanging out here in the shed for about 6 days. They don't smell funky. They don't look funky. We did go ahead and gut them. I'm going to get them plucked a little bit so we can expose the breast, and I'm going to work on getting the breast meat out of here and kind of seeing what it's like, and look forward to cooking with it here later and just trying and seeing how it tastes. These aren't a type of duck that I would normally pluck out, but I'm just kind of curious to see what aging did as far as like, what did it do when you try to pluck it out, because there are ducks that I like to pluck out and I like to leave their skin on. It is interesting to see. You can kind of see that breastbones a little bit. The breast kind of fell back a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and kind of open this duck up here along that center. Kind of peel the skin back a little bit. Just kind of peeling that skin back on there to expose the breast. Got under the breast meat a little bit on that side, but not bad. But I would say, the color and everything is very similar to normal. It doesn't smell much different, really. I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to get as close. The thing I do notice is it has reduced in size, because this, normally, these breasts are a lot fuller. They're almost rounded up over this, but this is a lot more exposed. So I'm going to get as close to that as I can, cutting along that white line there. And I'm going to come across here along the bottom. I'm staying as close to that bone as I can to get as much of the meat as I can. Kind of just trimming that away. Always as you get up here towards the breastbone, you got to kind of ride along that breastbone. It's hard to get all of the meat off up there, but you can see you're just kind of coming along here, along the breastbone there. You can see you're just kind of filleting it off, nice and slow. And you got that. Kind of just pull the skin the rest of the way free. Go ahead in here. This is where the wing attaches, right in here. So you're just kind of careful. You can see that's the shoulder, the wing bone right there. So I'm just taking it off of that. There we go. There's a little bit of feather on it, but I'm really surprised. It looks, smells. I'm very curious to see when we cook it, flavor-wise, what it does. There you can go. We're gonna go ahead and get the rest of these breasts out of these ducks. Then we'll be ready to take them and prepare them for cooking. What I'm doing is I'm going ahead and taking these duck breasts, these gadwall breasts, and I'm going ahead and I'm butterflying them out real carefully so that I've got a little bit more surface area to wrap. Just takes a sharp knife and a steady hand, but if you do it just right, you'll just kind of get, and as you flatten it out there, you get this much more opened up. You can see, like, whenever you lay that next to that, that just gives you more. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this around a little jalapeno and a little special surprise, and then wrap that in bacon. And kind of cut into one and just kind of see what it looks like in the middle here. Looks good. Good and done the way I like. I think I went a little bit further. Normally I'd do something more like medium with a duck, but with this one, because of the fact that we aged this for 6 days. What's really interesting is, like, they normally talk about when you age steaks, and I found it to be true, like, it intensifies the flavor. So I was really expecting this to be a lot more intense, like a lot more ducky, you know, the kind of that irony taste. But in reality, it's not at all. Here, try a little bite. What do you think?
Oh, good.
Right? It doesn't taste... I think operation a success.
Mm-hmm.